Gaz Williams Show, yes, some very special guests today. Really excited about. Oops, punching the mic. I have Eyal Amir and Or Lubyanica from Modalics. Now, all will be revealed soon. I'm just going to check that all our live stream stuff is going on. But here the guys are coming from. Are you in Tel Aviv? Are both of you Tel Aviv?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Definitely.
So you're 2 hours ahead. Just making sure everything's working here. So 2 hours ahead. Wow. So it's getting on for you now.
Well, you know how it is, musicians or product developers for that matter. There's no real hours of, there's no real clock. It's all the same.
That's cool. Okay, so just checking everything's working here. I'm getting everything is good. Just checking, and then we'll get into the show proper once I know that everything is as it should be. Sometimes I have a little bit of trouble just getting going, and then but then we'll be good pretty soon.
No problem. Take your time.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just going here, and then I'll just make sure I can see it. Oh, have we not got visuals? Yeah, we got visuals. Everything's working good. Okay, thank you, everybody. I've got the chat room now. I can see. And then, all right, we're all good. Thanks, everyone, for joining.
Awesome.
All right, brilliant. Right, great. Yes, so Eyal and Or.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You got
it. Right. So we're going to talk about their new release. So Eyal and Or are collectively Modalics as a software company, but we're also I first became aware of them together in a band called Project R and L, which I'm not. Is that an ongoing? Is Project R and L still the band, is that still going?
We're not very active lately. We did record a second album that we might release at some point. It's been a talk for a while, but we like the second album, so we kind of want to have it released. And right now, like different band members of the band have been playing together for different kind of projects. Like for example, Or and I have this other band called Abstractions, where we performed in a few places in Europe with Omri Abramov, who's a saxophone and iwi player. So we have this band with him where we're playing similar music, I guess, but in a more acoustic way.
Okay, nice. So before we get into the biggie, which is Beat Scholar, which is the new software from Modalics, just want to talk a little bit about our own personal history, because I'd become quite enamored with Project R and L, with your videos on YouTube. Also seeing Or doing his amazing bass stuff, and me being a bass player as well, just kind of like jaw-dropping stuff.
Thank you, man.
But then seeing these amazing songs, which brought to mind one of my favourite bands of all time, which is Gentle Giant, which I think it'd be fair to say would be similar ballpark to Project R and L, I guess. It's difficult, it's got its own thing, but you definitely Gentle Giant fans, gotta be.
Oh, you with me, you have no idea. Not only that I'm a fan, I've been to multiple there's all these fan conferences that happen once a year. I've been in multiple of them in multiple countries. I've flew specifically to see them
Yes.
In England, or not exactly them, but Three Friends.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the Three Friends, yeah.
The group that had a few of the original members.
Yes.
I've met Derek Schulman a few times,
Wow.
which was amazing. I'm a big fan, huge fan.
Boom, 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 boom. That's amazing. So just coming back to this story then. So I'd watched these videos. In fact, I saw Eyal, you did a bunch of videos with iPad apps and things with Jordan Rudess as well, hadn't you? This was probably about 10 years ago now, maybe.
Yeah.
I think that's when you,
on the first iPad, right?
Yeah.
Just
So
when
that-
the iPad came out.
that's when you first came onto my radar, and then In fact, I'd never heard the song by Maroon 5, Moves Like Jagger, until I'd heard your version of it first, which is better, to be fair.
Yeah, it's by far a better version. Like, I agree.
But then I started watching these Project Or and Eyal videos, and I was going like, these guys are amazing. And then, as luck would have it, you landed an amazing tour support of Osric Tentacles across Europe, and that brought you to my home city of Bristol. So I was like thrilled I got to see Osric's, but then I got to, actually, I've seen Osric's many times before in the past, but getting to see you guys, I'd never thought I'd get the chance. So it was in the Fleece in Bristol. I went down there with high expectations, but wow, totally surpassed my expectations. What an incredible bunch of musicians, you guys. It was like everybody was just a complete virtuoso on stage. I was like, oh my God, I got to go back to the drawing board. I got to practice more. But then was fortunate enough then to have a little chat with you after the show. And gosh, when would that have been? 2015, maybe?
I think you're
2016.
2016.
Like February or
Okay.
something, early March or something. 2016.
Right. So
okay.
now, but
I have good memory.
there's a reason why I wanted to mention this specifically with what we're going to be talking about with your new piece of software, though, is just this amazing kind of music that you're playing is, I suppose, on some levels it's pretty technically accomplished, but also it's incredibly imaginative and very, very creative, which I think is possibly why there's a bit of that Gentle Giant thing there. I think Gentle Giant may be one of the most creative bands of their time, and of all time maybe. So I was very taken with your playing and your musicianship and your creative ideas. I think that was the thing that really kind of drew me to what you're doing. So now we're going to fast forward to the present time and Modalics then. So this is a company that you've set up together to primarily make music software. Is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Beat Scholar then, is this your first product as Modalics?
Might be better to direct the question to somebody, but seeing as I started to talk, so I'll take it. It's our first product as Modalics, but actually during Project Or and Eyal's busiest days, we were taking the early steps to what would eventually become what we're doing right now, mainly by Eyal getting in contact with the music tech industry in general, but more specifically Waves Audio.
Because you did a plugin, didn't you? Like a bass plugin together, I believe. Or that was a few years back now with Waves.
Exactly. That was our first kind of dipping our toes into the pro audio pool. We were serving as sort of independent development team for Waves. We got this chance to do a prototype, and it's actually quite. It was quite a crazy time because Eyal kind of learned programming in a couple of months, and we figured out everything we need to know. Like we kind of learned out of necessity, and it was both very intimidating, but part of the reason we formed the company is that when we kind of lock our heads together and we have this persistence and sort of we know how to encourage each other and inspire each other in a way that kind of promotes these big ideas, and we were both like completionists where we really like to strive for something, and we kind of don't stop until it results in something, in music, in a video.
So I'm going to jump in now then, because we've really got to get to the main event now. So to give some context to what you're talking about. So Beat Scholar then is a standalone ANA VST AU AAX plugin drum machine, but with a very, very unique approach to programming it now. So my initial thing that I was talking about there, with all the mentioning about Project Or and Eyal and about this kind of musicianship, clearly this musicality has informed the design of this. So in a nutshell, how would you describe Beat Scholar? What is the kind of main headline grabbing aspect of the drum machine?
All right. So you actually I think the way you were leading into this is really great, because this is like when you talk about or that music from the 70s or whatever, Gentle Giant. One of the reasons why I think this music, for me, even way before I started playing music, it was like I would listen to Pink Floyd and all these bands, and what I liked about the experience of that music, of bands like Yes, for example, or whatever, that you just you lie down in your room and the music kind of is taking over, and it has this feeling where things can go to different places. Like there's moments in that music where the beat is weird, right?
Yeah.
It's like it goes places. It's not like this regular beat, right?
Right.
It's something. It's abstract, and maybe it resolves to a regular beat at some point, but then it kind of drifts away and goes back. So a lot of what we wanted to do with Beat Scholar was to kind of give you tools where you can get to these areas where intricate things are happening in your beats, but we wanted to do this in a way that's very, very first of all visual, so that you have some like feedback of what you're doing, and you kind of get a feel for the different rhythms, and you do it quick, because we wanted we felt that a lot of the music that we liked, if you go to like a computer or a MIDI sequencer or a piano roll or whatever, and you start to write these, it's a very painstaking process.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Right, and Or and I know that because we sat in a room so long to write music, and things like drums and grooves and whatever would take us so long to write, because we were so particular in, these moments where there's like, I don't know, syncopation and something else.
So I guess a good example would be something like Bill Bruford's drum work on Heart of the Sunrise, maybe by Yes.
Exactly.
So it might be a good point of reference for what we're talking about. So shall we just have a little look at the just as we're talking? Let's get up the interface, because I think as we're going forward from here now, I think seeing this and with all these lovely pizzas, because that's the thing, isn't it? All those discs that you can see on the screen there are lovingly referred to as pizzas.
We have a friend that coined the nickname Beatsas, which is like beat pizza.
Yeah. That's brilliant. So, okay. So, sorry, Eyal, I was cutting in there. So, carry on. But now, as we're looking at the screen, we can kind of see, illustrate as you're talking this interface.
Yeah. So, by the way, somebody in the chat is mentioning Trivial Pursuit.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? I've never seen that game in my life until this was released.
Right.
Then people started sending me, hey, there's this board game and it looks like this,
we
right?
literally just became aware of it because of Beat Scholar. I guess it was like a well-known thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let me play a couple of things, and then we'll guess talk more here in music. And so let's play a couple of the presets. I just need to move my Zoom screen because it interferes with my clicks. So here we go. And let's try something else, right? Let's take it slower. Let's try something else. Let's try something like this.
So straight away, one of the things, if you're wondering, as looking at this screen, a typical drum program, you would have individual lanes for each drum, but that's not entirely the case here, is it? You can have multiple different drums on the same lane. So the colors refer to the colors in the bottom left there of the interface, where we can see lots of different drum sounds, including lots of parameters for each drum sound. But then the color then is the color of the pizza slice of a particular beat. Can you explain a little bit about what's the advantage of that approach?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that, you know, you mentioned like how things have been traditionally in computer music. Computer music is a lot of the time very like computery in how you create it, right? It's like, okay, there's a drum has a track, right? Or whatever. You have a track for the tom and a track for the cymbal, track for the kick drum. And I mean, I guess it makes sense from an audio engineering point of view, right? That's how the sounds are represented. But if you have ever played drums, right, on a physical drum, it's not like you have, you know, 10 hands and for each of the drums, and then you're like, okay, my fifth hand is actually doing the cymbals and my sixth hand is doing the percussion, right? You're playing, you know, you're playing one music on the different drums.
Yeah.
And this is the thing that we try to kind of express with this, because like let's do something. I'm just gonna pick like one of the like init presets here, something like it's called This Is Beat Scholar, and I'm just gonna play it for a second, right? So this is just like a simple beat. It's got some of the cool subdivision stuff that we have, but we said, okay, you know, you want to add a fill in this, right? And like you say, okay, let's remove this first bar, is one bar, and I want to have a fill at the end. And I thought it was silly that we'd say, okay, for this, like, let's say I want to do a tom fill at the end. It seems silly to me that I would need to add like now have to go and say, okay, one more track for this tom, one more track for this tom. It's like, it's very silly, because I'm like, okay, this is just happening at the end of the music, the end of the bar. I should be able to just say, okay, let me clean the and slice this to 3 and say, okay, this tom, this tom, this tom, right? And then, right, like to me that's more natural, because if I had a drum kit next to me or an electronic drum kit or whatever, I would just say, okay, you know, I don't need like additional hands for this. I don't need to see something new to play the new notes.
Yeah. You can get a lot.
That's the kind of thing that we wanted, so that you can be more musical in how you think about the beat, not just, you know, the technicalities of the. You
can get a lot more information in a smaller screen there as well, isn't it? Instead of having to sort of just keep extending open with lanes and lanes and lanes, it makes it quite readable. Sorry. Owen.
Yeah, but aside from the interface, that's completely fine. What you said is really important, because the economy of information is like also sort of problem where we were aiming to solve, is like how to pack a lot of rhythm into a small space, and then, you know, give you tools to kind of expand upon it and stuff. But what I was about to say, like the added layer is actually like related to how we perceive music and rhythm in general, like not as individual notes being played in somewhere, but as clusters, as phrases. And this system kind of allows you to visualize or to express how you perceive the certain rhythm that you're about to play. So let's say if it's a kick, snare, and 2 toms, you don't have to kind of look for them vertically. You can just place them as a unit, and then take that unit and apply it in other places in your music. And that always felt to us like the way we compose music anyway. Like we just didn't have an efficient way to do these actions. So, you know, every artist you ask has like methods. Some people use pre-made loops and cut them up in Ableton. And some people are like MIDI programming geniuses like Eyal. And, you know, when we would sit and compose, we would take this purist approach. We would write a lot of the music in, you know, simple MIDI notes. And if it's beautiful and it works like that, if we play it nice, it will be even better. But yeah, at the end of the day, when we sat down, we said, what do we want to give to the world, and what do we want to say as like the first statement as Modalics? We wanted to bring something that has this deep musical layer, if I can call it like that. It's a very it sounds generic to say that something is musical, but we actually believe that it's not that It's not that common in pro audio, because it's a field that aims to solve problems in a very technical way sometimes, and we wanted to do it like in a, you know, like musicians would do it. I don't know if that's a good description, but
Well, I remember someone describing to me many years ago a way of feeling more at ease with a metronome or a click, and they were using like the clock analogy, and this will kind of make sense to the pizzas that we've got in Beat Scholar. But if you're hearing a click and you're kind of going, beep bop bop bop, and it's coming at you like that, dot 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 dot. It's kind of nicer to think of it going dot bop bop bop, because you kind of become a bit more aware of the space. If you've got it moving around in a sort of circular sense, so as opposed to it just being dish, 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 dish. The kind of, so this idea of circles and being able to subdivide circles into musical phrases, it makes a lot of sense. It's very musical. Now, one of the things that you find when you start using Beat Scholar is just how fast it is to work, and there's lots of really cool kind of shortcuts and stuff that you've developed, which I think is worth pointing out. So, for instance, you can select any of the drums just off a shortcut, and you can play it off the keyboard, off your computer keyboard, can't you? The selection process actually can become quite kind of creative as well. But shall we have a look back to the interface and actually go over some of the actual programming and key commands?
Yeah, and you're describing something that again was very important to us. We're thinking a lot of all these ways where you can stay in the flow, right? So we have a lot of these little things kind of spread around the plugin. Mm-hmm. One way is, I guess maybe that's more my thing, but I like to just have my hands on this keyboard, not like a MIDI keyboard when I'm doing drums, right? Because I don't know why I never felt very comfortable with keyboard drumming. I know people do that, but I've never felt like it. Even though I'm a keyboard player, it always felt a bit off. Mm-hmm. But here I can have like all these like shortcuts, so that, for example, all the top two rows of the keys, they just do the different drums. So I can just do A, S, what's next? D, F, G, right? They'll be just the different drums. So I can even keyboard drum literally on my keyboard, which is not like super new, but it's also can be used to actually select. You can see when I'm clicking this, it actually selects the red drum, the kick drum, as a brush. And I just click the snare, it plays it, but it also selects it. So when I'm playing, let's say I want to, let's say I have this thing here, and let's say this was clear, right? There's nothing here, and I say, okay, I want to put in a bunch of hi-hats. I can just do something like make the entire row 16th notes, which is 4 slices, grab my hi-hat, and then fill that, and then fill that. But maybe I want to have a shortcut with like an open hi-hat right at the end. So here it is, right? So then let's remove these. These are not interesting anymore. Oops, here we are.
But how did you split the lane into 4?
Oh, right. So to split the thing into 4, I literally clicked the number 4, which is like I don't know. So like you click 4, you hit pizza, it goes to be 4 slices. You click 3, it becomes 3 slices. 5, or it's 5 slices, and drag it up to Oblivion, it could be up to like 42 slices, and to do like something completely weird. Right? So we try to do all these things where, you draw the thing on the screen, you don't know what it's going to sound like, maybe it's cool, maybe you like it, and actually, maybe I like this little freeze, and I'm going to remove everything in there so that, right? So maybe there's a little break in there, it just does that. Maybe I'd say, oh, wait, I don't like this, let's go back to something slower. Or maybe let's go back, I don't know, add this, change this.
And yes, so you can, like in those multi ones, you could just populate it with every different drum sound within a single pizza, couldn't you? So like,
exactly.
I don't know what that's called in the pizza restaurant, where when you have everything on the pizza, like everything in every flavor on
Every flavor.
one pizza.
And you know what? You could. We actually have a few. Let me show. We have this preset. What's the name of the preset that we did with linear writing?
Yeah, it's in tutorial.
Okay.
It's called To Linear or Not.
Oh, to linear or not, right? So. Right. So let me a bit faster. So you mentioned, Bill Bruford, right?
Yeah, that's very Bruford-y.
I would say that Bill Bruford and Steve Gadd and drummers like that, they would play kind of like this, where the music is actually linear. It's actually one line of music, but they'll use all the different drums. Sounds.
Yeah. Nice.
You can check out the second pattern. Speaking of economy, so this is exactly the same pattern, but it's in a more traditional sense, like it's split. The drums are split to one drum per lane, and that's the amount of space it takes.
Right. So that would be how you would write it. Like we said, in a traditional kit or something, right? Where
I mean, not even because our circles, like 3 or 4/16 notes, take the same amount of space.
Right.
So it's even more economic in a sense.
Yeah. But I guess it's up to you then, isn't it? As the user, you can work in a more traditional way, or you can embrace this more minimal approach, which I think is quite nice. So let's talk about the kind of sound engine options then. So I noticed then, as you select the different drums, you've got a certain amount of programmability per sound. Can we just have a little look at what we can do there?
Yeah, sure. So. Okay, so in terms of the sound, let's go back to something like really simple, like the init preset. Oh, you know what? Let's take this thing, SVN init preset. Okay, great. So there's a few things you can do per drum. So one of the things is we have there's a built-in sample collection that we've made. So for example, I'm here on the kick, right? Right, I have a bunch of samples in there. There's a few, classic drum machines that we've recorded, and some acoustic samples, some electronic samples. In the kick, for example, you can even mix between 2 samples. So this is one, this is the other, then you can kind of mix it to get the sound. And the sounds are like already kind of organized per category. So there's, different sounds for the kick, different sounds for the snare. And then we have things. So one of the things is damp, right? So you can kind of dampen the drum and make it shorter, right? It's like an ADSR thing, right? So this would be the shortest kick. This would be a bit longer, and an attack, which I guess doesn't make so much sense for a kick, but sometimes you want a sound to kind of fade in a bit. There's pitch controls, right? Kind of obvious. There's a filter, right? Right. There's a low pass filter. There's a high pass filter, which would help with the cymbals, for example. We got a per drum drive. A little compressor, and Or's favorite, the bit crusher.
Like immediate style.
Immediate style. And then we got a few basics here. We got some some room reverb, a longer reverb, a parallel distortion. This is more like an effect that's kind of shared across the drums, where you can kind of send different drums into it. So it's a parallel distortion, unlike this, which is an insert distortion. Level pan, all the boring parts. And then we get some master effects. So let's play the entire kit. And right, so we got a master filter.
Yeah.
We got a master compressor, which is now on, and then we got the master crusher.
Now.
Right. So and also you can load your own samples.
Oh, cool.
There. So you can just click here, right, and it'll just open a window, and you can I don't know, say okay, maybe I got this I don't know 808 conga in there, so great. That now my kick is a custom wave file. Or you can just drag and drop things from your disk into the pads. And there's all these other ways where you can use this if you're using, like a DAW, right? There's all these like more complex ways where you can get the sounds on different channels and get MIDI out.
That's the question. That is the question. Can we MIDI out? Can we use this beautiful interface for driving our hardware? That's the yes,
absolutely. So first of all, here you go. So so this was really designed. I mean the sound section we've had, like we've put a lot of work into it, but we knew a lot of people were going to just use the sequencer with their things, or maybe in combination with our sounds if they like some of them. So so for example, you can okay, so first of all, this thing as it is, right, it puts MIDI out. You can just select the MIDI out port in the standalone. This is the standalone version, by the way. Yeah. So you pick a MIDI out, MIDI in, whatever, and this will go out and kind of trigger whatever it is you're connected to. But if you're getting into a DAW where you can be more serious, so let's open Ableton Live.
Hopefully nothing on the desktop there that's gonna.
Yeah, hopefully not. Okay, so so if you open Ableton Live, this becomes even more flexible because the DAWs can do quite a lot for you in that sense. So one way to do is you can open this as a plugin and you load Beat Scholar into a track. You got you have an instrument, and now you're saying, okay, well, I'd like to use some other sound, right? I got a plugin, I got a physical drum machine, I got something. So let's grab, for example, the I don't know, one of the Ableton drum racks, like the 808 or something, or I don't know, Beastly kit, I don't know, some kit that it has there, and you put it on another track, and then you can just say MIDI from, and it shows up as an available MIDI out. So input from Beat Scholar, you have to select it as the channel and which effect, because there could be multiple. And now you're going to hear both of them at the same time, right? But this is not so interesting, so let's have Beat Scholar just close the sampler, so that will make it a sequencer only. Right, so now it's triggering the Ableton thing, right? And you can still, go into Beat Scholar, right? Switch all the different, nice presets that we have. Get all the rhythms, change the tempo. This is gonna lock in with the Ableton Live tempo.
So one thing I'm thinking about though is I haven't seen anything about how you can control velocities on a per hit basis. Sorry, I was going too fast. I never got to that. But yes. Yeah.
So velocity. Sorry that I feel like I'm taking over the
No, it's
the whole,
great. It's great. I'm loving it.
Right.
I do have a small suggestion. How about Eyal? How about we compose like something from scratch?
Yeah, exactly. So
that way
that's a lot of the options, right?
Yeah.
So, right. So you mentioned velocity, right? So let's say I want to use, let me just for quickness, just switch to the internal sounds. So I'm going to go back here, enable the sampler. Great. So, so let's say that, let's start by writing, I want to write a hi-hat pattern, right? And I say, okay, well, let's divide this to 16th, and here's my 4 16th notes. To change the velocity, I could just hover over one of the pizza slices, essentially, and then I can hold Option, Alt, whatever computer you're using, and then just drag.
So the color intensity then is
exactly color intensity. So for example, let's make this like one loud, one soft, right? So that's like nice drummer dynamics, and then I like this, so I'm just going to copy and paste this from here right into here.
He's holding C and then V.
Yeah, C and V.
So you get that.
Then you get a nice sound with slightly more dynamics, right? So that's how you can pretty quickly do things. And those are really individual. So even if you had like a million slices, and this was filled, you can say, okay, this softer, this louder.
Yeah, so you could put some ramps and things within your kind of ratcheting. What about if you want to automate any effects hits or something, or if you want delay on just certain beats but not on other ones? Is there ways to do that?
Oh yeah. So so first of all, everything here, for even the per drum stuff, it's all automatable. So I mean, you can do it from the standalone just yet, but in the DAW you can automate everything. Everything you see is like you can record automation. You know, I can probably do that. Let's see. I never remember the specific DAW shortcuts, but I think you just click this, right? So let's see if that worked. Right, I'm still.
But doing it in.
Somebody needs to remind me what do you have to do to record automation in Ableton. I never remember.
But doing it inside the plugin though, so not using.
It's definitely high up on our to-do list in terms of updates, because we made Beat Scholar as kind of a platform that's about to evolve and change over time. We're really on the ball in terms of like getting customer feedback, and users already have given us like amazing insight. So stuff like that is like we feel it's part of the software, but it's not like implemented yet. You know, it's like it's a given that you'll be able to do stuff like automations in the plugin or per slice effects and stuff like that, because you know it's necessary.
Yeah, okay, no, that's cool. I just saw mention there's a storm going on, and like my noise gate is. I think, can you hear that? Rain. I'm in the
barely.
In the attic here. So
it sounds great here.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay.
Can I want to say one more thing about the sequence area, if you don't mind. There's something nice that's kind of a hidden fact, you can say, that this system, because of how we kind of visualized it, it's sort of hand-holding without you noticing, and frees you up to experiment quite a bit with subdivisions, because the interval between the pizzas is always the same. So it's determined by the measure of the bar. So within the circles, whatever it is you're doing, because the intervals are the same, it creates this sort of hidden context. So even if you do some really insane polyrhythms, there's sort of an interpolation that happens. And after a few cycles, you kind of go, oh yeah, I get it. You know what I mean? It kind of, your brain kind of makes sense of it, because it's not just random. There's always this hidden layer of order behind it, you know, saying these beats will, you know, the one is always in the same place. So it's kind of an organizational system that promotes, you know, experimenting and doing stuff freehand.
Well, let's go to that new blank pattern then, and let's try having a look at putting together something then that does get kind of polyrhythmic, and just to sort of back up what you're saying.
Yes.
So I'm noticing as well, like as you make a pattern, you can have different time signatures within a single. Yes. Yeah. So that looks quite interesting. Okay. So what would be a good starting point here?
Okay, so so time signatures, so that's another thing that we wanted to make people kind of feel, smooth about. Like the time signature is per bar, right? So let's say I add another. So let's try something. Let's say I do something like I have these 16th note that I wrote earlier, and let's do. I'm just writing these, a couple of snares here, and a kick. Straight up stuff. Maybe I'll do the kick a bit more interesting, and do something like this, right? That's slightly cooler, and remove some of the things. So that's nice. And let's say I want to make the thing, a 5/4. I can just say, okay, this is 5/4, no problem. Let's fill this beat with something, and
we're getting requests from the chat room for some more cowbell as well.
Cowbell.
Yeah.
We don't have a cowbell, we have a goat bell.
Goat bell, yeah.
Sorry, in the update, it will turn into a cowbell.
Yes, I put my pants on, one leg at a time. And then, I make old
records.
Okay,
but
so
just to show the point, maybe you can split the entire lane into 3, and just decide arbitrarily that the snare is always on some triplet.
Yes, exactly.
Without even kind of thinking about it too much.
Make this thing a triplet, and then here I'll put this. Right, or something. And like you mentioned with polyrhythms, that gets interesting because one of the things that we can do is you don't need necessarily the circles to be quarter notes, right? You can also say this thing is like half notes, right? So what I did now was actually made this double time. I made this half time, sorry, right? It's half as slow, essentially, which means that if I do something like, I don't know, 5, right? 5/3, that is actually probably going to sound pretty cool. So check this out. So let's do something like this, and this, right? I'm just going to have this 1/2 note, right? And then maybe the next one is going to be 5/4 with, I don't know, another kick or something. Right, so you can get really screwed up, especially, I know, let's remove one of the notes here, remove one of the stuff here. So talk about polyrhythms, right? This is a lot of the state of mind we want to get to. I think this is pretty groovy. I can even add some swing to this.
Yeah, because
right? You can get African sounding rhythms out of all of a sudden with that 3/5, 4/, whatever. Like you can really go crazy.
There's a preset in the tutorial folder that I made to showcase this. It's called Clockwork, and it's like a bunch of clocks lined up. There you go.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, slow down.
Sorry about that. So. Right, if I'm gonna do something like this, I'm gonna zoom here and
nice. So you can zoom them big. So if you're working on really small divisions, you got your graphic zoom as well.
Yes, you can totally freely zoom like horizontally as well.
Oh, nice.
Which is important if you're writing like long patterns.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's something else. There's no limits to like the size and length and things. Like we'll have some presets here that are, like kind of like this even. And let me zoom out of this. Right. So this one is like a preset that Or made. Right, and then I can zoom in and work on like specific sections about it, and scroll. And same with the time signatures. It's all very loose. You can kind of design your view, because you can design it like this, but you can also switch to different, or make here it is like as a fill pattern. Right, this would be like a fill. Just like one circle, and then this thing is all the circles.
Wow.
And just one other thing I wanted to show that's interesting is we have all these like swing settings that are not what you're used to. Let's check this out. So if I'm gonna go to this thing, so this is just a very straight up preset, but then we can push the swing forward, right? So this is 64% swing. And we can even go, to like 125% swing. We can even go to 200% swing. And one of the things you also have, this is probably a bit extreme, but we have all these in-between values. And let's go to the other side. Let's go to a negative swing. Check this out. It's almost like a laid-back feel, right?
That is quite contemporary sounding. There's a lot of kind of cats who are kind of trying to lock down these kind of grooves. A lot of the younger bands coming through now are kind of really messing around with that sort of falling over beat. It's kind of regular, and then it just kind of and you can really get that sort of thing going on in here. It's quite hard. That's quite hard to do. That is in a more traditional drum programming.
Yes, there's all these tricks. Like, right, you have to, people in the past, to get this feel would have to do like individual drum shifts and stuff. And that's one of the things we're trying to. We will probably add individual drum shifts for the people who really want to have their drum specifically, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think you can get a lot of fills with that. And we actually have another resolution where here's an example. So let's say these hi-hats were 16th notes, right? Let's say I would have a 16th note pattern.
Yeah.
Whatever, right? And so instead of the 8th notes, so just this. Let me drag this over the whole thing. Great. So this will be the straight up pattern of this. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm in tempo 20. Let's go to some normal tempo.
And not.
Right. So if I'm going to push the swing here, this is pretty cool, I think. But you also have other types of swing. So this would be a swing that based on quarter notes, so more like traditional swing, or like big band swing, whatever. But we also have double time swing, which is closer to like how old drum machines would work, like MPC and whatever, and that would sound kind of like this. And to the more extreme sides, or backwards. Right? And another thing we have, which is even more weird, is halftime swing, and this is gonna sound weird. I'm gonna prepare you. Check this out. Let's try the other side.
Yeah.
Right? So it's almost like it slows down and speeds back up, depends on what the setting is. But it's still like if I'm gonna put a click around this, right? Like,
yeah, it's still staying in, but it's almost like an
Exactly.
oral kind of illusion, isn't it?
yes, right?
Yeah. So, what about kind of randomizing? Is there any way to take your program pattern and make it do things at all, or is it? Do you just create new patterns? So, would you have to create like a copy of a pattern and put variations in there?
Or you wanna say something about this?
Yeah, just that it's something we've been getting a lot since the release. We have been thinking about the generative side, of like creating probability engines and stuff to kind of get instant feedback and then tweak from that. But we've been mainly focusing on getting the basics right. And we were thinking this could be a really nice second layer to the plugin once it's out there and people are using the composition system. Because if you think about it, there's also like, we have such a different system that probability here would kind of maybe work differently. So it's good for us to kind of gather feedback before we go into something like that. Like, do I random the amount of, make the amount of slices random? How do I fill them? You know, there's all kinds of experience questions that we still have to answer. But it's definitely one of the things we're going to do in a free update sometime soon.
Okay, great. So actually, we should let's just talk about pricing. And so at the moment, if you're interested in this, there is a launch deal, isn't there? How long and how much is that, and how long will that last for?
So now it's like the list price is $99, and then now there's an intro sale for $79, and it will probably stay just for like a couple of weeks. I'm not sure exactly what the date is, but it's not for a long
October
time.
2nd is the official date that
Yeah?
the intro sale ends.
October 2nd.
October 2nd.
October 2nd. Okay. Yeah. Okay. You're right. So here we go. So yeah, there's a date, and we also have a free trial. So if you just want to try it, there's a 14 days fully functional trial where we don't put like noise in as you're playing or whatever things that some companies do.
Yeah.
So you can just enjoy it, make music, see if you like it. We definitely like to be inclusive and have people first of all just get into the experience and share their beats and get a feel for what it actually means to have this, right? So
Great. So so you mentioned before then it comes with quite a big library of sounds, but it also comes with quite a big library of pre-programmed beats.
yeah.
Have you done that yourselves then, or have you brought in extra programmers then to program all those beats?
Both. I mean, we created a factory library, but then we have the artists library. So in the artist library, we're gonna add more presets to it as we gather artists. We're still a new brand. We're very proud to feature some of our close friends and even Project RNL members, Alon, the guitar player, and Sharon, the drummer. Both have terrific presets there. Yogev Gabay just released a tremendous video that I
yeah.
encourage everybody to watch on his channel. He has this series of videos called Time Consuming. It's every progger rhythm nerd dream. He kind of breaks stuff down in a very entertaining way, and he was using circles to kind of demonstrate stuff, and it clicked so well for us, you know. And now he has a video out where he explains the kind of the secret behind the mirror by Dream Theater, which is a terrific song and one of our favorite bands, naturally. Yeah, so you can go ahead and watch that. But yeah, back to the preset question. We try to have the library only contain stuff that we feel like really belongs there, and I feel like we did a pretty good job with that. But I really encourage you to check out the artist presets. We have some killer people making terrific rhythms there.
Yeah, we got some people like the Living Tombstone making presets. He's an amazing producer, and we got Stuby making presets, and a lot of really cool stuff that are going to be coming up as well.
Okay, cool. So questions come from the chat room. Is iOS version any?
Yeah, it's a common one.
Yeah. So watch this space, I guess.
Oh no!
Yeah.
So this is coming for sure.
Oh right, okay.
And actually, so it's we really love that people ask us about iOS, because we actually prototyped this on iOS at first. Like this was we had like the computer and iOS version side by side, and we eventually decided to put out the computer version first, but we actually have quite a lot of the iOS app kind of ready, so we need to kind of polish it a little bit, because we wanted the experience to be great on touchscreens. But yes, it's coming.
Okay.
We would love to have people use this one.
Yeah, I can see how that interface would really translate well for a touchscreen. Okay, so we're going to be kind of coming to a close pretty soon. I just want to remind everybody who's watching to tune into Molten Music after my show. Robin Vincent was on Sonic Talk earlier, and we realised we had a show that we were both clashing, so he graciously moved his show on till 9 p.m. So please, if everybody who, after we finished here, go over and check out what Robin's up to. He's got some cool new things to show. So I think then we'll call time now on the talking about Modalics and Beat Scholar. But before you go though, let's just return back to sort of music then, and a few tips and things we can maybe give our audience some listening, some things that they might want to go and listen to, check out. So what have you guys been listening to lately? What's been floating your boats?
Is anybody noticing that I'm opening Spotify in the background and just trying to figure out what I listened to recently? It's been such a hectic time for us. I don't remember the last time we usually play music. We play music all the time during developing this plugin. It's such a common practice for us to open our computers and put on a 3-hour playlist, and then kind of, immediately stop working as soon as something kind of hits us, and then we talk about the music and then go back to work. Yes. I killed enough time for Eyal to have an answer. So how about he goes first?
I have an answer. So there's a few things. First of all, one of my favorite bands lately is called Polyphia, right? And they just released a few new songs from their album, and they're amazing. So I love that. And but I generally listen to quite a lot of instrumental music lately, even though their latest song actually had vocals in it, but mostly it's instrumental. And this is gonna sound weird, but we have this really active Discord community, and we've had somebody come in and recommend all this Japanese music.
Now you're talking.
And I was not aware of. I mean, I knew a few Japanese composers, but apparently there's all these like ridiculous, in a good way, musicians in there. And one of them had so he has this album called In My World. The name of the artist, let's see if I want to make sure that I say it correctly. It's some, want to say something at Yamamoto. I want to make sure that because the album actually has the title in the name in Japanese, and I never remember names of songs. But anyway, this guy, yeah, I think it said Maoki Yamamoto. I'm probably screwing this up.
Yeah,
but he's like I don't know what he is. Is like this. He's a drummer and a composer and whatever, and he makes these like crazy instrumental music. And I think he plays like a lot of the instruments as well, which doesn't make any sense. It's so good in all the instruments. So that's definitely in the top of my.
So he's unreal.
I'll get Eyal to mail me that, and I'll put it in the show notes with a link for people.
Here you go. Somebody said the name correctly. Maoki Yamamoto.
There we go.
I'm probably screwing up the pronunciation.
Maoki Yamamoto. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I saw a great band at Glastonbury Festival this year, Japanese band called Kikaku Moyo. Loved them. Actually, I was in the tent. I was like zoned out sleeping. It was they were the first band on the field next to where I was kipping, and this music came on, and I was just like, just coming to, and it was like, what is this? Quick, get out of the sleeping bag, get some clothes on. Bumble across the field to kind of check them out, and they were fantastic. And then I just learned that they just retired. I think that might have been their final gig. But Kikago Moyo, a really, really great Japanese band. But the guy was playing like a sitar guitar. They were really good. But yeah, always good stuff from Japan. So I don't know that one though, Maoki Yamamoto. So thank you. That's a hot tip.
I got an album I've been playing. I don't know if it's really in the prog category, but I guess it's a band that always kind of flirted with that sort of music. Mastodon. I'm a metalhead, and that's kind of a big part of my life. Yeah. And they released like this incredible album that has like 18 songs, which is also a very proggy thing to do. And it's full of these kind of conceptual pieces, and it's big and heavy and wonderful, and it's called Hushed and Grim, and that's my recommendation for you guys.
Cool. All right, so that was that did you say it was Mastodon?
Mastodon, yeah.
Mastodon, yeah.
I know, right. Maybe everybody knows them, but I really like their latest album, and I thought it's a good recommend.
Okay, that's cool. I'm just gonna write Kikaku Moyo. I'm just putting that in the chat room. Okay, cool. All right, well, that's great. So I think I'm gonna say we'll pull the show to an end now. So I just really want to thank you guys ever so much for joining me. A really fascinating piece of software, and congratulations for bringing it to market. It's that's some achievement to do, and in all those different formats as well, on both Windows and Mac, and hopefully soon iOS. So Modalics. I guess you've got other things in the pipeline. Maybe in the future we can come back on the show and show us what you're up to.
Yeah, I would love that. Thank you so much. This is amazing.
Oh,
yeah, it's been awesome, man.
Thanks. No, thanks ever so much as well. I mean, getting some insight is really fascinating as well. And just checking out we've had some great comments, and thanks chatties as well for the lovely. We get a great community. So if you're watching this show not live, make sure you enable the live chat, because there's always lots of interesting things being spoken there. So you can see the live chat come up as well. And of course, if you're new to the show, please consider subscribing, and do Modalics have a YouTube channel that people could subscribe to?
Yes, we do. It's Modalics on YouTube. Mm-hmm. We have some stuff there, some really cool stuff. Some music, some tutorials, like music.
Yeah,
we made with the thing.
Sorry, we're uploading almost daily now with Beat Scholar out. So yeah, if you subscribe every day, you'll get like a tutorial or an artist video or something.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, well, I should say thanks, everyone. And don't forget to go and check out Molten Music as well tonight, everybody. Because, as I say, Robin graciously moved his slot for us. And I'll see you all soon. Thanks again, everyone.
Right.
Cheerio.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.